Something really interesting happened last night. I was going to bed, going to sleep, and usually I find it quite difficult to get to sleep. But the interesting thing that happened last night was I started having my hypnagogic hallucinations before I went to sleep, and that's interesting to me because the way in which it happened, it felt familiar. And when I say familiar, I mean this would happen quite regularly when I was a child, when at a time I my symptoms were, I guess, more consistent. What I'm trying to say is that it was a time in my life where being sleepy and falling asleep wasn't discouraged as much and wasn't sort of taboo. And the fact that it happened last night, I mean, it does happen sometimes, but this time it sort of happened willingly. And for me, it's huge because it's a huge indicator that I am really dealing with my anxiety around sleep and sleepiness. So it's kind of shown me that I'm making headway on that. I've only had 6 months to work on this, um, which is a really short period, but I realized about 6 months ago when I finally had some circumstances and an environment that I could control and have sort of a routine around sleep that I have massive anxiety around sleep, and it ends up becoming a friction to sleep. And it's funny, right? I'm saying that I find it hard to be sleepy. Well, not sleepy, but fall asleep. Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. Um, I didn't have this problem when I was a child because, like I said earlier, being sleepy it wasn't beaten out of me yet. So it means that, well, what does this mean? It means that I'm dealing with my anxiety around sleep, and it means that I think I'm going to be able to achieve it. And you would say, why would you want to be able to achieve more sleep? Well, for most of my life, after sort of, you know, 10, 10 onwards, I found it hard to do the thing that my body wanted to do. And I think it's purely because I developed anxiety around sleep. And, I had people trying to keep me awake all the time. So this is really exciting for me. It means that all this hard work that I'm putting into dealing with my anxiety around sleep is actually paying off. And it means ultimately that that friction that I normally experience, and it's really painful, whether it's me doing it on purpose or not, it's really painful. Um, it's like trying to hold in a burp or a sneeze and not being able to sneeze. And it's really painful. That's how I've been walking around for a lot of my life. You know, I'll have a sleep attack and I'll get just close to falling asleep, but I won't actually fall asleep, and that ends up being painful because that sleep pressure isn't released. And I've been walking around with that for so many years. So imagine holding in a burp for years. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited to see where this can go. And it will mean that, I have like 3 sleep attacks a day, sometimes more. It will mean that I will actually be able to relieve that pressure that builds up instead of getting to that point where I'm almost falling asleep and just having to be like a zombie with my eyes closed. That's really, you know, all I'm able to do, and just sit there with that pain and that pressure until the body kind of just, finally realize, okay, he's not going to fall asleep. and it stops, but that pressure's still there. So I'm really excited to explore this. It means that all of this work that I've been doing around trying to feel better about the symptoms, and also um, trying to be someone with narcolepsy, if that makes sense, which means accepting. Which means accepting my symptoms and accepting and letting myself be what my body wants to be. So I'll be really interested to see how this goes. I know it's going to mean that I'm probably going to be falling asleep a lot more, especially in public, which is my biggest fear. But if it means that I feel better and that pressure is released afterwards, I'm okay with it, you know. Because early on in diagnosis, I would look at all of these really typical narcoleptics and I would be envious of them. You know, even seeing videos of people falling asleep, like actually falling asleep, I was so envious of them because I knew that they would at least feel a little bit better later. Yeah, they might still be sleepy, but I don't mind being sleepy if it means that I don't have that tension and that pressure and friction sitting there because my body hasn't been able to achieve what it wants to. So yeah, pray for me. I hope this really leads to something because I need a break. I'm tired of being in survival mode. I'm tired of constantly being high strung and just feeling like, you know, I'm holding in that impossible burp or sneeze. So we'll see how we go with this.